Hello, everybody, and welcome to another replay analysis with me, your host, ViBE. And today, we have someone, you may know him. He's a Zerg who's been climbing the ranks real fast. His name is Sapien. And his opponent today is going to be a Terran. This is Masters level stuff, guys. Masters level. Today, specifically, we're going to be looking at how you beat mech. Do you fight mech and are you getting tired of that crap? Are you a Zerg player who throws his keyboard on the floor because you just lost to a bunch of siege tanks? Do you get up and run outside the room screaming because Thor's just couldn't die? Or are you just ripping your hair out because you just couldn't figure out a way to stop a bunch of battlecruisers? If any of these are you, don't worry, you won't have to fix any more of your house doors. You won't have to buy any new keyboards, and you won't have to keep buying wigs. I got you covered. You're gonna learn how to crush all those types of mech. Because these are some, we're gonna be doing not one, but two. This is a twofer. Double back-to-back mech games. Okay, let's get into it right now. We're gonna see how Sapien deals with it, and we're gonna critique it, and you know, go from there and give him some ideas on how to improve. Just throwing this out there, though, the way you beat mech by default is a good economy. We all know ViBE over here, this guy, loves having a good economy, okay? I love a good economy. I respect it. But a good economy is legitimately how you beat mech, because mech is an army, unless it's Hellion Cyclone, mech is an army that is very slow. It is very easy to outmaneuver, and it is also very easy to expand against. We'll get into more detail about that later. For now, we'll just, you know, we'll just see what's gonna happen. But yeah, an economy is how you beat it. The worst way you can fight against mech is being overly aggressive, especially if you're not breaking the Terran player. You never want to be overly aggressive against someone who's like going defensive tanks as an opener or something like that. That's how you're gonna get yourself killed. Alright. So we're playing a Zerg vs Terran right now. And we don't know yet, right? Like, one of the things about Terran is you don't know they're going to go mech, okay? So we'll have to decipher that as time goes on. So far, the build is very standard for Zerg. We have what looks like a speedling opener into, you know, an expand. Very, 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 very standard stuff. Alright, so now we have 4 lings being made. We have 2 queens being made. This is perfect. You're going to be able to shove the Reaper away. Which will most likely happen. Most Terrans go Reaper. Very standard. Nothing to complain about right now. You are still mining gas again, though. I assume you're going to be that guy that once again goes for Zergling speed. I mean, sorry, goes for Overlord speed, like just like last time. We talked about this last time. I am not a huge fan, but I'll let it be. We're going to see what you do with your gas, though. I'll see what you do with the gas beyond Overlord speed, which is what I assume you're going for.
Forces under attack.
But again, the Overlord speed is fucking your larva up again right now. Like, you're not able to spend a lot of it. Here's a tip. This is a tip. If you're gonna be going Overlord speed every time, delay your third until you spend your larva. Larva spending is more important than third. Like, you can still take your third really fast. And I understand you want to take your third before the Reaper comes out, but do this from now on, okay? You can send a drone just before the Reaper arrives. Like, if the Reaper's like mid-map, you know the Reaper's mid-map by the timing of how things go. You can send a drone out. Let's see when you sent your drone out. So, you know the Reaper, it just left his base. This is very standard timing. And you send a drone out. This drone timing that you just sent out just before your lings are done, thumbs up, okay? Good drone timing to send it out. I agree with it. Because one of the biggest things about taking a third base that you want to make sure happens is you want to make sure you can get a drone to your third base before the Reaper blocks you and fucks you over, right? You do not want your drone to try to run out to your third when the Reaper's standing right here, because he'll just like kite the drone till it dies, even if your Lings and Queen try to help it. The drone will never make it to your third alive. Or otherwise, maybe you like run your Lings and chase the Reaper a different way, and you take a different third, which is more exposed, which is not great. So again, I agree with your drone timing, okay? It's good. But imagine this. Imagine if the drone just sits like right here, or it sits right there. It could just sit right where the third is. Just sit there. Do not make a hatchery yet. That way when the Reaper comes to your base, no Reaper ever goes, you know what, I'm gonna go to the third immediately. No Reaper does that. Every Reaper will always go to your natural or your main base for the purpose of they want to kill as many drones as they can as fast as they can before your Queen spawn. Because a Reaper will always get into the main base before a Queen spawns on every single map. That's just how it works. As you notice, a Reaper is like literally about to come into your base and your Queens are still a good 13 seconds away. So if you had like 3 drones here, maybe he kills 1, maybe he kills 2. You know, it depends on how you micro it. Maybe he kills 0 if you defend well, which you very well could because you also made Lings properly. But yeah, you get my point. Every Reaper will try to kill drones before Queens spawn. So imagine if you didn't make this hatchery, and you have 4 larvae right now, which you made into drones instead, which is the difference of 200 or 300 minerals. You know what I mean? Like you'll go back down to 100 right now, 115, and then you'll mine up to a 300 amount again, and then you can take your hatchery. Like this is just it's just too much. You're stretching your economy too thin, and you're larva capping because of it. Like again, your larva just gets kind of skewed and messed up here because you go for that third base. You just have so many larvae chilling the whole time. It's not good. It makes a big difference. Also, you messed up right there. I'm gonna just throw this out there, okay? You could have killed the Reaper. This is not the biggest deal, but it's something you can work on. The way you microed your Lings initially, I'll show you one more time. I gotta back it up to the right exact spot. Okay, we're gonna go on normal speed, so this is as slow as I can go. This was perfect the first time you microed the Lings. If the Terran does not pay attention and move his Reaper back right away because maybe he's macroing right now, or trying to kill your Overlord, perfect. Multiple things are going on. This happens a lot. You instead are not just going, hey Lings, move the Reaper. You're going, hey Lings, run past the Reaper and then attack it. Good shit. I like that a lot. Because what you just did is you made the Reaper have an awkward way to get out of your base now. He has to like run around your Lings, which means he's going to get hit more, which increases the chance that he's going to die. And his reaction to it is actually he dove into your base further.
Attack.
Like that. This is 100% very good for you, because here's what you could do. If the Reaper goes around the hatchery like this and goes up, your Lings could go up like this and zone him in this side. So your Queen on the low ground could kill him if he tries to go out that way. Or the Queen on the low ground could shove him up here to the high ground, and your Queen on the high ground if it pulled down. So the Queen was sitting like maybe like right here, you know? And the Reaper jumps up. If he's only got like 1 or 2 hits left, the other Queen kills him. That's one way it would go. The other way it would go is how it did, and he tries to go back this way, and he comes and cuts around and goes around the bottom. Your Queen spawns, and your Queen is now going to start smacking him. Your Lings, as soon as he starts going down, should not chase him, and instead your Lings should go to the right. Which you do.
Under attack.
Perfect. You did that. You actually did that. But you did not attack, or sorry, you did attack a little bit too fast. Because if you attacked like right here, but if you would have literally ran to the wall and attacked, you would have killed the Reaper. Because the Lings, the point of the Lings is they should be cutting him off from getting around the corner. So the Reaper has to backtrack a little bit to go around your Lings again, which is going to make it take more damage. And he doesn't have a lot of time to get this done because your Queen is out now. That was also a good nade by him. That was random. He was trying to hit your Lings with that, and the Queen spawned into it. So that nade helped him a lot. But notice your Lings again. You attack a second too early. Watch. Watch your Lings just like they could have easily made it to the cliffside, but your Lings attack like right here instead of at the wall. See that? You could have killed it. Just throwing it out there. It's not the biggest of deals, But the really nice thing, if you kill the Reaper first, but if a Terran ever gives you the opportunity to kill his Reaper like this, it does change the pace of the game a lot. Because it makes Terran have 0 scouting. 0 scouts. What's he going to do? Scan you now? Or it's either he's going to scan you or he's going to wait until he has Hellions. And this is actually really scary for Terran if the Reaper dies and it sees nothing in your main. Because as a Terran player, he's going to be going, oh shit, how much gas does this Zerg have? Am I going to get Roach all in now? Is this guy going to go for like fast tech? Like it makes you really question everything. The game becomes kind of a gamble for Terran if he doesn't get to scout your gas. So you almost really screwed him over. But yeah, hopefully what I just said helps you understand more about how to zone a Reaper.
Swarm forces under
But
attack.
yeah, you did everything perfectly other than you attacked a little bit too early. If you would have just went to the wall and then did it, you would have killed it. Because the Reaper was almost dead. Okay, you killed it. Terran is multitasking with his base, and he saw your third, which means it's not a 2-base tech rush, for him at least. But he doesn't know how much gas you have, so this could still, for all he knows, it could still be like a Roach all-in, Roach Ravager, Speedling, Baneling, something along the hatchery all-in tech line. So that I'm glad you still killed it, but that was you honestly killed it though because you neglected the Reaper, but it still worked. But yeah, you overall had pretty much the right idea on everything you did. Okay, so you're chilling with your Overlord on the high ground. You saw a Marine shove you back. So now, at this point in time, okay, this is huge, right? What you're seeing right now. But so far, up to this point in time, you saw the Terran scout you with the Reaper. He made a Marine behind that. And I'm just going to throw this out there, okay? If a Terran goes for Barracks, Command Center, and they make Reaper Marine out of it, that build is perfect for going into a reactored factory. Okay, that's the third thing this build will be. It doesn't have to be, but it is very likely going to be that. Because the time it takes you to build a Reaper, and you spend the gas to make a Reaper, you're going to mine enough gas to, when the Reaper is being built, to have pretty much like a little bit more than half of a factory, basically. Like, in terms of your gas, you probably have like 60 or 70 gas or something by the time the Reaper's done. And then, as you're making the Marine, you should be able to start a factory. And this is all off one gas, by the way. And it tells you he's going one gas by how early the command center was. You don't go double gas as Terran and go for a really fast command center. This just doesn't make any fucking sense. If someone does that, it means that their build is just inefficient. It's similar to someone going for a third base while mining gas really hard. Because then the larva is inefficient. This build, the way it, and like it wouldn't matter if someone did it inefficiently, right? Because if someone does a build inefficiently, even if it's not what you quite expected, it's going to be a weaker version now of everything. Efficiency in StarCraft is very, very, very important. So if you have an efficient build that is done correctly, because it's efficient, it's a formidable build. Like, things can happen out of that build that are actually hard to deal with. But if you have someone do a build and it's inefficiently done, it is no longer a formidable build no matter what it is. And you might even be like, oh, he's got like 2 port Banshees and I just went Roaches. This is not good because I can't even kill the Banshees. But if he does it really inefficiently, you're going to be like, wow, I have so many more Roaches than he can deal with, and I could just literally kill his base and keep him on defense. And then suddenly, now while I'm keeping him on defense, I just make defense while he's busy, and now he can't kill my base, but yet his base still took a lot of damage. And that is literally the difference of, like, his build should kill yours. If it was, for instance, he went Banshees, you went Roaches. But it doesn't work like that because his build's inefficient and yours isn't. That's just how StarCraft works. If you do builds inefficiently, the build is nowhere near as potent as it should be, and it just falls off really hard. So yeah, like, this should be 1 gas, and his second gas should start when the factory starts. So if I look at everyone's vision right now, we should see 1 gas that's already mined, probably like 200 gas, and the second gas either is just being finished and is starting to mine now, or is like maybe even still under construction. And look, You have one gas that's mined a lot of gas, and the other gas that's just finished mining. Like, it's just now starting to mine gas. It's only mined 28. So he did the build right. Because he started the gas when he started the factory. He didn't go double gas and at the same time make a command center. And that's what you should be expecting, right? You should be expecting, okay, well, he's capable of getting a Reaper, a Marine, and a factory, and then he starts gas number 2 when the factory starts, because then he's going to start doing things that are more ramped up, like making extra factories possibly, or going into a starport, which is exactly what Terrans do. It's either a super hard mech opener of like Hellion Cyclone, or it's going to be 1-1-1. If they go into something that is not if they go into something that looks super standard like this, Reaper Marine into an expand is super standard looking. Now the other part of it was this. If I were you, okay, so already that's what I'd be expecting if I saw what I saw. It's just a standard as fuck opener. And now if I were to go, oh god, this guy is actually taking a third gas now really fast. This would tell me that this guy is probably going to delay his third command center now. That's what I would think. I would go, okay, well, if he's going to take a third gas before he's even got really much saturation going on that natural yet, my guess is now something really tech heavy is going to come out of this guy. It could be like, again, a massive mech ball. It could be something super random. It might be like ghosts or some shit. It might be air. It might be multiple starports.
Oh,
but that is not telling me this guy is going to be super fast on a third command center. That tells me he's going to make gas units, and he's going to make a lot of them pretty early. Yo, super cool, dude. Thank you very much for the 2 months. You know what I mean? Like, why the hell is he getting a gas this fast? Doesn't make any sense. The only sense it makes is that he's going to be doing something with that gas. Otherwise, he's just going to have an inefficient build that has tons of gas for no reason.
Swarm has
and now your Overlord speed scouting him, which is totally fine.
Queen birth successful.
You see a reactored factory. Again, you should know this is happening already, though. Like, there's a chance. There's a chance. I'm gonna actually back this up and give you a way to scout that's not always just so fucking reliant on Overlord speed. Cause you gotta honestly, you gotta know this stuff. If you're gonna be like in Masters or GM or something like that, you know, you gotta really just know what's going on here. And check this out. All the information I broke down from up to this point right here when he starts the gas, right now, that you just saw. All the information we talked about a second ago should be things that are going through your mind, okay? Those things should be actually like triggering in your thoughts, like, okay, yep, he's doing this build. It's most likely it's standard like that. If he's doing this, what I see, those are his options. His other option, by the way, if he goes for Reaper Marine, would be he could make a second barracks, start a second barracks, and also the first barracks right after the Marines are done, could start a reactor, and then he could start a factory, and once he has enough gas after the reactor is, you know, after he makes a reactor, he can make a factory the second he can, and he can start, again, a second gas when he starts the factory, and that could be a 2-1-1. And here's how you could tell the difference of a 2-1-1 to a just a mech opener, right? Like something with factory and starport, or just multiple factories. One Zergling could go like this. Oh, I just saw 4 Marines. Or, oh, I just saw a Hellion. And now you know. It's as simple as that. He's not going to defend his base with one Marine and just call it a day. Because you could speedling all in him and he could die. Like, he could be like, oh, I just lost all my SCVs and I got to lift my natural. No Terran is going to be like, all right, I'm going to meta this guy with 1 Marine and I'm not going to show him anything. Because even if he did that, what if the Zergling goes like this? And it comes right here. Now you can physically see what his build is with 1 Zergling. Nobody is going to defend with 1 Marine because 1 Marine can physically not stop a Zergling from running past it. A Zergling could run past 1 Marine and it could see his ramp. And what he's doing. You know what I mean? So, like, you have every means to scout this, even without Overlord speed. And seeing the fact that he made a Hellion, this already proves to you that you know, that he's not going 2-1-1. It's already ruled out of the question. You do not get a factory that fast and get a Hellion out at all if you're going to go 2-1-1. It just doesn't happen. So the fact that he has a factory now tells you he's either going for barracks into multiple factories or just barracks factory starport. Anyways, we have overload speed though, so we'll continue from here.
Has evolved. Newly birthed queen ready. Swarm forces.
One thing I would love if you do as well, just backing this up really quick, is this queen just injected the hatchery. Okay, right here. I like that you only put one tumor down and then you didn't go multiple tumors like last time. That's really good. But check this out. The second you injected this hatchery with this queen, I would have loved it if this queen, right after it injected, just walked up here. Just literally, you tell it right now, go walk right there. Because what I think you're going to do is I think you're going to tell this queen to inject this hatchery again, and the new queen is going to walk up there to inject the hatchery. Which means you're losing, effectively, like 12 seconds on an inject. It's just one of those things where it's efficiency again. Let's see it. Good drone count though.
Swarm has evolved.
Your drone count's not bad.
Swarm forces under attack.
Okay, you creep tumored again. I am not the biggest fan of the second tumor this fast. Again, only because the Terran player is not playing super all in right now, so I think prioritizing multiple tumors before injects is a mistake. I think if this guy didn't have a natural, I would have, again, or like, or if his natural was really late. Like, if, for instance, if his natural is actually not timed properly, then that does mean he went gas, and then took an expansion. But because of how early his expansion was, you already know this is a standard build, and the most that's going to happen to you is harass. And prioritizing creep over inject is not good versus harass. That's good versus all in, but it's not good versus harass. Because all you're doing right now is putting yourself behind. Because you have now effectively lost 3 drones. Because you are skipping an inject for 1 full round. And we'll see, like, you know, we'll see if you get an inject on the hatchery the second you can. Which I'm assuming you probably will the second this queen's done. But I would rather have seen you inject the hatchery than creep spread. Because once again, it's the same thing we talked about last time, right? With efficiency in the previous lesson, and what we also kind of talked about in the beginning of this one. With how early you took your third, your larva cap, you've already fallen behind a little bit this game. And now also with something like this, where you're throwing down multiple tumors before taking another inject on a hatchery, when you know he's playing only harass, and up to this point, and you have every means to inject into the hatchery, you're falling behind again in terms of drones.
Oh,
you will not have the same supply as you would if you did this more efficiently. No matter what, it's impossible now because you are, like, you don't get what you've done back, basically. You can't compare a Zerg who focuses on creep and a little bit of inefficiency in terms of the resource management early, and expect that Zerg to compare up to someone who does it perfectly and have them have the same supply. I would say you're already, like, if you're already, your build's like probably like 10% behind where it could be already because of this.
Swarm forces under attack.
Just throwing a number out there. It's not exact, but yeah, it's probably around 10%. So if you're at 100 supply, someone else would be at 110 or like something around there compared to where you're at so far. So your lings are fine. Your queens are you injected. You're grouping your queens up a little bit. This is fine. I just want to make sure you're always rolling injects on your shit. Your gases don't really bother me that much. I think your gases though, again, we'll see what you want to do with them. I'm not saying like, oh, they're not mining your gas. What are you doing? I don't give a shit. The biggest thing is you don't want to have like super amounts of mineral inefficiency. So I actually like you might, like, if you look at the gases and you go, I didn't saturate them for a while, maybe you could say, oh, I can make them a little bit later. But the bigger thing I don't want you to do is I don't want you to make gases and the second they're done, feel like you have to just immediately saturate them and drop your mineral line back down to like 12 out of 16 or 10 out of 16. So obviously that's the bigger one. But we'll see what you do with your gas. I think 3 gases might be a little excessive, maybe, in terms of what you build. If you build a lot of... If you overbuild lings now, it's going to really suck for you. We'll see, though. You're making 2 more. It's not the worst. And you're starting to... You also have a drone being made. Your ling count is fine. Your ling count's great. It's 16. As long as you stop here, I'm okay.
Swarm force.
Okay, so you saw Tech Lab on hold on. Here's the problem. This is a problem though. So you have to scout, you have to actually pay attention to what you scout, right? Yo, Marking, thank you very much for the baby of subbing. Turns out this sub baby is yours, no wonder you fled the country. Thank you, dude. Marking, much love, man. So look at this, okay? Let's go right back to the second you scouted it. Your vision. So you flew into his base the first time and you went, all right, 111. You scouted it. That's great. Good shit. But now here's another thing, okay? And I'm gonna try and explain this logic to you as best I can. But it's something very important in a second here. Okay. Right now, you have now seen, okay, Terran's got 111 with a fusion core on the way and a second factory on the way. This reveals everything. This Terran's build is no longer a question mark in any way as to what he's going to go into. This is now going to be battlecruiser mech. 100%. He has the ability right now, or in a second here, to make a battlecruiser, to make Hellions, and he's going to most likely start an add-on on this barracks, and that'll tell you what he wants to make as a follow-up. My assumption is it's going to be a tech lab, and it's going to be either tanks or cyclones. Okay. But here's the thing. The factory is not producing anything right now. The starport is not producing anything right now. Okay, so keep that in mind. And also the barracks is not also producing add-on yet. So at the bare minimum, you already know that this, what he has right here, is all he has. And there's not going to be any type of a fast fast follow-up to it. This is it. This is all he's got. You can tell because, again, when a factory or a starport is building, you can see the lights flashing on the starport, and you can see these little like sparks flying out of the factory, and also the lights flash as well on it. Like, it's very obvious when they're building. You have to, just like we talked about last time, if you're going to be doing overlord speed scouting, you have to pay attention to shit like that. Because, and this is what I was saying a second ago when I was going to say, I'm going to try and explain this as efficiently, or I'm going to try and explain this as well as I can. But it comes down to efficiency again. Because you get overlord speed, you make your build less efficient. That's just how it is. If you mine more gas for the purpose of going, I want to see what he's doing, because I'm going to invest in overlord speed, you fuck your own economy up by doing that, because that's extra gas and less minerals that you're getting as fast, and your whole plan is to go 3 bases. Now, because of that, you have to scout and react to things properly, and if you do things inefficiently, it's going to further put you behind. So you can't overreact to things and play super safe if you're getting overlord speed, otherwise you have double negatives right there. The whole point of overlord speed is it gives you the ability to react to shit perfectly. So here's what I'm going to tell you now. This is my point, why I'm saying this. You just scouted that he's got a, you know, the starport and...
Attack. Queen. Newly birthed queen. Swarm forces under attack.
Oh shit, sorry, I'm muted. My bad. Sorry. Thank you for telling me. It wasn't that long. Anyways, I'll go back to what I was saying. So, efficiency, right? Sorry, I didn't mean to mute the mic. You just made 6 spore crawlers against what you scouted. That is a major investment of your economy to go, fuck it, let's make 6 spores, because look at you now. You're behind the Terran in economy again. You are once again now negative. This is awful for Zerg. This is really bad. And look at this. The fusion core is not even done yet. And when the fusion core is done, it's not like he's Protoss and he can just warp in a battlecruiser.
Yeah.
He has to build that shit for over a minute. Yo, nom nom nom. Thank you very much for the 4 months, dude. Thank you, bro. Much love, dude. But yeah, you got a full minute before he gets a battlecruiser out. And you saw, you did see with the Overlord that there was nothing being built in the starport when you just scouted him about like 8 seconds ago. There was 0 things being built. And that tells you, and you scouted him twice. You scouted the starport over here a second ago, and then he rotated it and you scouted again like 20 seconds later and you saw the starport's now here. With those frequented scouts like you did, I think it's a great job. That's what you should do if you're going Overlord speed. But you have confirmed that there is no way something could have been built that fast, because you can't just build units in 5 seconds out of a starport or 10 seconds out of a starport. Every unit out of a starport takes a while. 30 seconds, 30 seconds, 43 seconds, 43 seconds, 43 seconds, 64 seconds. So you are like 100% golden that you know for a fact this is not a Banshee opener. This is not a fucking Liberator opener. Nothing was built. Nothing was built. And also, there's not even an upgrade on the tech lab. And I just want to throw this out there for you guys too. If this guy's going Hellions and battlecruisers and a second factory, which is probably going to make like Cyclones or tanks, you can't just be like, I'm making everything under the sun here for Terran. I'm just going to make everything. You have limitations, guys. And I'm going to tell you this too. The fact that the Terran made a 3rd gas really early when he only had 4 SCVs on the natural mineral line makes his economy even less efficient than a standard Terran. So he has even less minerals to work with than a normal Terran would in this situation. But he does have more gas to work with. And the one trade-off would be, what can he squeeze into this build that would be more gas expensive and not super expensive on the minerals? And I would say he has the ability now to get a battlecruiser and Yamato cannon immediately. He does not have the time, though, to get a Banshee because we had frequent scouts of that Overlord a second ago. It's fucking impossible. That's like no perception of time if you think that there is a chance there could be Banshees in the map. You know what I mean? So, you saw there's nothing being built in the starport. You should know that 100% this guy is going for battlecruisers, and I think your defense that you went for against battlecruisers is fine. I don't mind it. But you did it at 5 minutes when you should have done it at like 5:40. You should have made these spores like 40 seconds later, because you saw with your Overlord that like you just left his base. You saw this shit's not even done. Where's your Overlord at?
Thanks for doing you, ViBE.
Yo,
Your
Bert.
bronze to GM got me back into SC and now I'm a Twitch affiliate playing it. You the man.
Fuck yeah, Burry. Thank you for the bits, man. Congratulations. I'm just throwing it out there, guys. Like, this is 100% nothing being built in the starport and a fusion core that's almost done. This is a battlecruiser. Like, he's waiting to make a BC. And also, the other thing about this guy's build too is this build is very inefficient, because if you guys remember, I said he took a gas way too early, which means he has less money to work with. And a standard Terran who does this build is not going to stop making Hellions. Hellion, 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 Hellion. That way, when the battlecruiser arrives, they don't have only 5 Hellions to hit you with. They have like 10 or like 12. Okay? But what this guy did was he took a gas really, really early, and then he just stopped making Hellions altogether for a while, This factory has not built a Hellion for quite a while at this point. So he takes a third base because he stops producing out of the factory. And this guy has way more gas than he needs right now. This guy's build is also inefficient. But yeah. You have to be able to analyze this shit though. And I obviously, Sapien, I know you're learning, and I'm not trying to make it sound like you should already know this. But, you know, obviously now after me telling you this stuff, you should now commit this stuff to memory, obviously. I don't want people to get the wrong idea here. It's just, again, the final thought here that I'm trying to make is if you're going to be a guy that overlords speed scouts, you have to react to what you're scouting properly. Otherwise, you have double negative setbacks in your own build. If you overreact and also fuck your own build up by getting more gas than you need, your build is going to be massively behind. Which is why a second ago you were actually behind the Terran in workers when you had 37 and he had 38. Which is very bad. That's not good. So how do you react? I already said it. We just went over that. Just watch the YouTube video when it's uploaded. I don't want to literally say it all again. Alright, so now he's going to make a battlecruiser, most likely. That's what you should be expecting, right? I think your creep spread is fine. Your positioning with your queens is fine. They should be in the front right now to deal with the Hellions. I think one thing you're kind of having an oversight on, though, is you should be expecting... You 100% should be expecting this guy's going to go BCs. And the fact that you do not have your bases connected in creep is also a massive problem. At the bare minimum, there should be just one tumor like here or something. Because your queens, if he teleports into your main, your queens are going to be like, oh god. Okay, we're good. And then let's say the BC flies over here to your third base. Your queens are going to be like, go defend it. Oh god. Okay, we're good. You really need to connect your bases on every base on creep. You're going to have the biggest fucking traffic jam right here. Because you don't have a tumor when BCs come. And this could actually fuck you over really hard too. If, for instance, he gets like a really nice roast on your lings and your queens are all in the main, and then he just drives into your third base with Hellions or your natural with Hellions, and your queens are just late as fuck because they can't get down your ramp as fast to help your other base. It's really bad. You need to connect your creep to your main. You obviously have the means to do it. You just aren't doing it.
Newly birthed queen ready.
But again, it's hard to... I'm still going to obviously go over the whole replay, but it's really hard to give you proper analysis now. Because you are not nearly as good off as you should be. Because of... it's not that bad, okay? I'm kind of making it sound worse than it is. You're still actually okay, but it's... I feel like this is like the equivalent, okay? If I was playing the game, and a Terran player would have drove into my base, and he would have roasted 10 drones, and then he would have just left. I'm not gonna lie, I would still be in the same position that you're in right now. That's how I feel about your build right now. Like, it's just not super efficient. But yeah, we already went over that and how ideas on how to fix that. Right now, I would say there's one mistake you're doing, and that is... You now should be expecting, like, right now is when a BC could 100% teleport into your base, right? Look at that production tab. That shit's almost done. It's getting to that point when if this guy wants to, he could teleport into your base. It depends on how efficient he is with making his buildings and wasting time. And his build is not the most efficient either. But you should be expecting a BC right about now. And because of that, you should be expecting your queens are also going to be kind of busy. And you also should know that he has a bunch of Hellions. So you should definitely make some Banelings. Because you skipped the Roach Warren. And here's why. If this guy just goes Hellbat mode and he walks into your natural and your queens are in the main dealing with a battlecruiser, you just die. You're fucking dead. Like, how are you going to defend that? Your lings will never defend a bunch of Hellbats if it's just the Zerglings. And your queens are going to be busy dealing with a battlecruiser that's also in your base. You will 100% be dead. So right around like 5 minutes and 40 seconds, if you know it's a battlecruiser opener, you should be knowing that right around then, or like, you know, you should be basing it to when you scout his base, right when the fusion core is done, and right when the battle, like, you know, the starport's ready to build something, and the fusion core just finished. You have literally 1 minute until, if the guy is really efficient, you have 1 minute until battlecruisers come. So just literally look at the clock and go, okay, let's add 40 seconds. And 40 seconds from then, I'm going to go for like 6 or 7 banelings or something like that. Whatever the fuck you want. Don't make like 20. Make like seriously like somewhere in like 6 and you're good. And then you should be also expecting your queens to then rotate when you make the banelings into your base somewhere. Make sure they're ready to go. Like having your queens where they are, right? Like if this wall was actually down more, let's say these 2 evo chambers were there and there, that would be great, because then you don't have also more blockage in your base that's causing more traffic jams, because now your queens have to walk down and around shit to defend things. If your queens were like right here, your evos are like there. Now suddenly your queens can easily walk to the main, they can walk to the natural, or they can walk to the third. Wherever the hell he teleports, your queens have minimal distance to go to. It's like they can just walk to that base, and by the time it actually phases in, your queens are close enough, if not already on top of it. It's super easy to defend it that way. That way your queens aren't way the fuck over here, and he teleports into here, and you're like, oh shit, let's make a big journey now. And suddenly the battlecruiser gets like 8 seconds of harass before your queens get there. Or like 7 seconds of harass. You don't want that. And when you know your queens are going to be busy, your again, the banelings are there. And then also, when you start the banes, that's when you start the spores, because your spores should be finishing efficiently in an efficient way. A spore color has like a 20-second build time. 21 seconds. Your spores will be done just before the BCs warp in. And suddenly you have spores no matter what. And BCs show up and you're like, hey, what's up, dude? I got spores and queens. And I have more drones than I should right now, because my build's more efficient. So even if you do take a little bit of damage, it's not as impactful, because you just have more shit. Like, it's not like you're trying to defend a little bit. You're trying to defend a lot. And even if you take a little bit of damage, it doesn't really mess you up that much, because you've been more efficient. So if your queens run down here, this is a big mistake, because he's going to teleport into your main base, most likely. Fixing your creep is fine. He teleported to your third. And that's exactly why I said queens right here, right? That's exactly why I said that, because there's no guarantee he has to go to the main. Your queens, if they were right here, let's say the BC teleports in right there. Your queens can walk up the ramp really fast, especially if there was a creep timber there, and you're there. Let's say he teleports to the bottom of your natural. Your queens are right here. They could right away go down there. He goes right there instead. Your queens are right here. They could easily walk there. It's like equal distance. It's like being in a spider web in the center of it as a spider. Not being on one side of the web trying to defend something that comes on the complete opposite side and going, let's run all the way to the other side. Like, it doesn't make as much sense. And now you can see you have this big hole in your build. Okay, you made Banes though. Thank God. I want to watch when you made Banes. Okay. Your Bane timing? I'll say this. Your Bane timing, according to how you're playing this out and how you think you're playing this out, is okay. It's fine. You're basing it 100% off of how your opponent is attacking you. You're not basing it off of his build, which you scouted. So you're going, okay, he's attacking me with Hellions in the front of my base. And he's killing my creep. I want to fix that creep, and I want to replace it. And then I imagine I'm going to probably move the queens back to defend something. And because of that, you know, when my queens have to leave here, which they're here now, I'm just going to now make my Banes. But if this dude would have attacked you simultaneously right now. Does he even have the unit out yet? No, how, okay. This guy is just like also really inefficient, dude. I want to look at his starport to when it finished the fusion core to how long it took him to make a battlecruiser. I just have to look at this. Okay, fusion core is done. It just finished. So we're at 506. He has the money. Took him 10 seconds to build a BC. That's just inefficiency again right there. That's why, you know, it's late. But he could totally multi-prong you at the same time, and if you don't make Banes for the timer we talked about, you'll definitely get, you know, taken advantage of. And anyways, also, so overall defense, I give you a C. Okay? Could be a lot better. I give you a C. Now the follow-up. Let's look at the follow-up as to what should be happening right now. I agree with this building. I agree. I disagree with this building. Hydras are about one of the worst things you could do. And a lot of Zerg players always fall into the same trap of, I have to make Hydras. I just gotta make Hydras. Hydras, Hydras, Hydras. It's like Hydras are the answer to everything. Hydras are fucking awful in this situation, and here's why. This guy's gonna get Blue Flame. He's going Hellion Cyclone with this. This is a very, very like, this is literally how I play Terran mech when I play against Zerg. This is very common. Going BC Opener into Hellion Cyclone. The thing about Hydras against BC Hellion and Cyclone is that Hellions annihilate Hydras. Because Blue Flame adds so much fucking damage to the Hellion's attack. And at that point, you're doing something where you're going, okay, we're both making units. They both cost 2 supply. One of them costs gas. One of them doesn't cost gas. They both cost the same amount of minerals. And one of them has AoE and one of them doesn't have AoE. Simply put, when you look at everything, you look at all the things together, a bunch of Hydras actually gets fucked up really hard by a bunch of Hellions. Because it's not just Hellions either. It's not like he's going to go 100% Hellions. He's going to have Hellions mixed with battlecruisers and Cyclones. So a lot of times what's going to happen is let's say your Hydras are shooting a battlecruiser and his Hellions just drive up and they go and they just wipe out 12 Hydras. And you're like, well, there goes my army. My army's dead. It's horrible. Hydras are the worst against Hellion Cyclone and battlecruiser. It's fucking terrible. It's so bad. It's not good. I'm not a fan of it one bit. It's really expensive for the Zerg because your Hydras will die so often, and you get stuck on just making Hydras all day. And Hydras are pretty, honestly, not good against this composition. They're just not. So I disagree with you, Hydra. I do agree with the Spire. I think you should also be making Infestation Pit. And honestly, at this point, I think you should, again, this side, I also don't agree with this. I think at this point, you should be making a Roach Warren as well. Going for Carapace does nothing for you. It's not going to change how tanky your Hydras are against either Cyclones or Hellions. It's not going to change how tanky your Zerglings are against Cyclones or Hellions. Melee is okay. If you're going to be going for Lingbane, melee will get the job done. Like, it'll definitely increase the damage of your Bane splash, and also your Lings, whenever they're on shit, it's just going to do more DPS. Melee actually has a benefit for you here. But Carapace is going to change nothing. Like, these Hellions are going to 2-shot your Lings either way, and they're going to 4-shot your Hydras. It's going to be the same shit either way. And a Cyclone has no difference in damage because it's, when it locks onto your unit, it's a spell, it's not an auto attack, so it pierces damage 100%. It does not, it ignores armor. The only thing a Cyclone does that would affect its damage would be when if it was off the cooldown because it just used it and the unit died, or it lost its ability because of line of sight or some shit, and if a Cyclone were to sit there and just auto attack you. If a Cyclone does that, and the Terran is, you know, like going, you know, this is a good idea. I'm just going to sit here and concave my Cyclones off cooldown. The Terran should lose anyways, because that's an awful way to micro that unit. It's terrible. It'd be like Zerg saying, I'm just going to stand and storm, because I'm going to just DPS these Templar. It's bad. Cyclones are like fucking paper. They die really fast. So no one should stand there. Unless he has overwhelming amounts of units over you, and he's going to just kill you. So again, armor doesn't do anything for you against his ground army. It's the only thing armor would actually maybe help a little bit with would be his air. Like it would make you tank against his this attack right here a little bit better because it's very rapid and it it's a very rapid firing ability or auto attack. And armor will get a lot of benefit against this. But the only thing that I don't agree with is now if you're going, yeah, I'm going to go Carapace to the ground and I'm going to deal with battle cruisers that way. That does mean you're most likely going to be going Hydras. And Hydras are just awful, as we stated before, to deal with this composition. Not just the BCs. They're not even great against BCs. There's way better options, like a Corruptor or an Infestor. Hydras are bad. They're like in this scenario. That's the first thing I have a problem with, okay? Your strategy choice. The second thing I have a problem with is you scouted he's a mech player, and you also scouted he's on a third base. I honestly think that your fourth base should have been started as soon as you confirmed he's mech. Right here. I'll tell you when I think you should have started a fourth base. Watch your money as well. You could totally start one right now. But watch your money. Let's say you played this perfectly. You didn't ever have any larvae sitting there. You were crushing the fucking larva game, and you're good to go. Okay. Hatcheries injected. No layer yet. That's fine. Your larva game is not great right now. You have 11. And again, you know why that is? It's because you made a fuckload of spores before you needed them. You prioritize making spores before making your drones. As we talked about before. Still got a ton of larvae. If you would have spent this larva more efficiently, the second you spin your larva and you're like, alright, we got a lot of time. My next inject isn't going to pop off for, let's say, 12 seconds. And I'm at like 415 minerals. Yeah, let's take a fourth base. That's when you should do it. As soon as you realize he's mech. And you should honestly know he's going mech already because you saw second factory, fusion core, first factory, and starport. This is mech. This is no one's gonna go, you know what I'm gonna do out of this? Make fucking stim pack. Go and stim. So you know it's mech. So your fourth base, super late. Super late. As we stated in the beginning of this analysis, your economy is guaranteed gonna be the problem. Economy is how you beat mech. Because you want to be able to throw lots of roaches and shit at him, or you want to be able to tech hard and not die while making roaches. Roaches are amazing against mech. Just saying. Just throwing it out there. Anyways, let's fast forward it. We already saw this part. Let's look at your economy tab really fast. You're close, which means the Terran should be winning because look at the resources, okay? Terran's mining more gas, but it's not really true. You guys are both mining the same amount of gas. It's just that the tick happened to happen as I paused it when the Terran had a slight lead. It's because his SCV plopped the gas in the command center at that moment in time. You guys are mining the same amount of gas. You're mining off of 6 gases. However, or actually no, you're not. You're both mining off of like, yeah, not 6. That's not exactly 6. It's gonna go up again. Whatever. Look at the minerals though, that's the bigger one. Terran's behind by workers. He's pretty much matching your gas. But his minerals are also matching you, even though he's so far behind you. And obviously we all know the answer to that. It's mules. Which is why if you ever have situations where you're letting the Terran keep up with you, especially if they're going mech, it's not great. It takes a lot longer for you to build up a mech army that is not only safe to push out, but just to build it because it's more expensive. So you have every right to take more bases faster when you realize it's mech. If a mech army pushes out, like this is it, he's like, let's go, let's attack. This army would get absolutely fucking dumpstered by this. Zerg would crush this, no problem. Because mech is very committed, bio is very non-committal. If this was bio and he took a fight, he could go like this. Last second, boys, load up into the fucking medevac. He loads up, boosts out. Non-committal. He doesn't have to lose his units even though he just committed to fighting you. However, If he commits onto your creep with like a bunch of Hellions and you just flank and surround it, how the hell does he get it out of there? He doesn't have recall. It just dies. It's super dead. I feel like it's hard to defend a 4th base with BC coming. I specifically delay the 4th here. Why? Why is it hard to defend a 4th base? This army would kill this army. And also, if your build is more efficient, you wouldn't be tied with Terran and workers either. You also would not be behind the Terran in supply. You haven't even taken any real damage yet, and you're behind. You see this? Like, you both have lost pretty much overall the same amount of resources, which is basically nothing. This is like barely anything died this game. Yet you're behind in the game now. And again, it's not meant to be confusing what I just said. It's because of all the reasons we already talked about. And here's the other thing too. You have queens, right? You have queens. You have enough queens to fight off these BCs because you also have spores. You would not get fucked by this. You're fine. You have a lot of transfuse. The thing that is making this harder for you is you're going for a bio type build. You made a Spire, which is, I actually like, but you're not using it. And then you're going into upgraded Hydras with Ling Bane. Hydra Ling Bane is not great against Hellion Cyclone. There are cheaper, better options. Like, for instance, if you made a Roach Warren and you just got Roach Speed, it's already cheaper than getting a Hydra Den and 2 Hydra upgrades by a lot. And then on top of that, making 1 Roach compared to 1 Hydra, it's the same supply cost, but 1 Roach actually performs better against a Hellion than a Hydra does, especially when you have Cyclones involved. If he's just like roasting you and running away and kiting you and just locking onto units, and then roasting you and running away, what's going to happen is, if you're going Ling Hydra Bane, is your units are going to go attack, charge forward. Your Lings are going to run in first, because these units all have different move speeds, especially right now, when this is not done yet. So your Lings are going to be like super fucking fast, and your Hydras are going to be like, we're cruising at a nice slow pace. Your Lings are going to take a fight before your Hydras even get there. Your Lings are going to get roasted if you overcommit and you let them chase for too long. They're going to die. All your Lings are dead. And then your Hydras are the other part of your army that are now going to fight the Terran by themselves. You're basically making a composition that's going to fight Hellion Cyclone in 2 different groups. The only way it works properly is if you allow him to overcommit and you flank him and you eliminate the fact that he can kite you. Like, if you let him drive to right here and you had an army literally right here and an army right here, and you just come straight down behind his army, and now he goes, oh shit, there's army here on creep and it's chasing me. I'm gonna kite backwards, and as you kite backwards, he gets flanked. Sure, it would work then, because all your units are actually able to engage, and you hold him there for a second while you blow him up with Banelings, and then you just overpower everything. But if you don't do that and you just auto-attack forwards, you're gonna bleed out your army in sections, because your shit doesn't have the same move speed. He just fucking took it. The Terran literally just sat there. He didn't try to even kite once. Here comes the traffic jam. Look at the Evo placement like I was talking about, and now also look at the lack of creep tumor in your main. You're causing your queens to have more of a detour. And now, let's go defend. And then the Terran goes, let's go back to the 3rd. And you're like, Jesus Christ. Let's go back to the 3rd. You know what I mean? Like, it's not great. I love that you find the main corruptor. That's amazing. It makes me happy. Like, the corruptors just go, hey, battlecruisers. Fuck you, man. You're dead. Corruptors just shut this shit down easy. So I'm glad you eventually made them. But let's watch now, right? This Terran player actually let you kill his previous army. Which is awful by Terran, by the way. That's so bad. But let's watch and see what these Hydras accomplish. killed, I think, like maybe 2 Hellions and a Cyclone. And you lost like 8 Hydras for it. Or something like that. Not great. And now, what's happening, because your composition is like so fucking just everywhere, you don't really have one. You have 4 Lings, 7 Corruptors, 8 Queens, a bunch of Larvae. You also have less drones than Terran. And you have upgrades going into the rest of your Hydrogen. You're now going into range upgrades with melee upgrades. You're not getting upgraded in your Spire yet. You're making a second Hydrogen because you were assuming your first one was going to die. And you don't have, or sorry, and then, you know, you have a 4th base that's well saturated now. But the Terran player over here is actually out expanding you. The Terran player is going up to 5 bases when you're on 4 still, and now you're on 5. Now you're matching the Terran's base count now with this new base that's just started. This is still just matching the Terran's base count is also really bad. You definitely want to be leading the Terran, because you should never be behind like this in a supply overall. And now you're going ahead in supply, and you're making Hydras. You should be ahead in supply all the time, and it's really easy to accomplish that with roaches. But you're making Hydras, and let's see how well this, let's see how well this Hydra army performs. So you see him pushing your high ground area here. He's got tanks set up. You're thinking, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna fucking queen flank him with an army. You have a ton of army that's not close to being able to engage right now. He's not killing the rocks.
Hive cluster under direct assault.
This is kind of sketchy because these queens have no way to retreat, and your other army is not even anywhere near in position to help. So if this Terran player actually decided, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna fucking move my army a little bit to right here and siege like right there, and I'm just gonna start attacking this army. Does he see what you're doing? Okay, this is just 3 tanks, and he's coming down this way. Weird.
Hive cluster sequences assault.
I love the Corruptors.
Creep to
I really would love to see you though, as well. Upgrading your Spire. I like that you're making macro hatches because you're not spending your money as well as you should be. So this is obviously super important. Like, you need to be able to crank your shit out. So here's the thing, right? Okay, so if you've ever watched me play a mech game, there are certain situations when I go against mech when I will actually have like 2,500 minerals and like 2,000 gas, and I will not be maxed out. And some people might look at that and go, wow, ViBE, are you macroing well right now? I don't understand. Why do you have so much money? And the reason why that happens when I do that is because I go through a phase against mech where I go, okay, we realize it's mech. Then we defend initial mech, which is like up to like 6 minutes. We have now prepared a defense against mech, and a lot of times what I like to do is I like to go queens and roaches early on, and I identify what his build is. And then it goes one step further, where the Terran player commits to a follow-up timing, like kind of like the one he did earlier, where he just kind of didn't attack it at all. He just let it die at your base, and then you countered him with Hydras that also just died. I make a proper defense to deal with that, which would be, I'd probably add in Infestors, personally. I would add in like 4, I wouldn't go mass, I would just literally add in like 4 Infestors so I could fungal clumps of his Hellion Cyclone if he gets really aggressive. And then I would expand like fucking crazy. And I would literally spend the next few minutes of the game just making drones. And I would make drones to like 90. And my money, because I'm spending all my larvae, drones. The Terran player cannot really do anything to me because I've already made a proper counter to what he's doing. And it's not like I have to make drones for 5 fucking minutes. I only have to make drones for like 90 seconds. Or like 60 seconds when I'm already on like 4 bases. It does not take very long. Not even, like, it's like 45 seconds of droning. It does not take very long if you're on multiple hatcheries to crank out an extra like 25 drones or 30 drones. If you're already at like 60. You know what I mean? Like, it goes fast. And then suddenly now I'm at that really juicy drone stage where they're mining so much for me. And drones are cheap, so my money gets kind of high. But at the same time, I was also teching. And my army just goes just like mass fucking production really quickly. And now my expenses are I'm able to spend my money and max out really quickly because I identified what kind of a composition it was early. I identified how greedy my opponent was being. I would not go up to 90 drones if this guy's going to do a 2-base all in. You saw he went for a third as he took the third. So you knew he wasn't going for an all in really early. You knew he was doing a build where he's just advancing his stages more and more with better economy. And then all you have to worry about is dealing with harassment. That's it. And you're just there at that point. And now you can just go into a composition that's ideal to deal with mech. And I'm going to throw it out there right now. A great unit against mech that you can center everything around is a Broodlord. Roaches are like the previous version of Broodlords for the way that I play. Roaches zone out Hellion Cyclone initially, but you take losses while that happens. And then as soon as Broodlords come out, you zone out Hellion Cyclone again, and you don't take losses anymore. You just kill it. Like, you just kill his shit. Anyways, going from here now. That's how I think this should be going for you, right? That you should have a better game plan than what's happened here. But now, into this situation we're in right now, you're getting attacked by battlecruisers, which you dealt with up here. I don't know if they died. Did they die? One of them died, one of them didn't. He teleported one away. But you did. There were 2 of them up here that I remember, and you killed one. So that's fine. But you dealt with the battlecruiser problem. But the bigger problem is he killed your base. So getting this shit rebuilt quickly is like, that's like priority here right now, because you are getting outmined now at this point. If we look at it, you're tied again. You are tied on workers, which means you're behind against Terran because you don't have Zerg mules and he does have mules. So yeah, let's go ahead and see how this goes. And this is what I'm talking about, right? The Hydras are always behind while the Ling Bane get roasted first. He doesn't really have a lot of Hellions, luckily enough for you.
Swarm forces.
I wish this Terran player played a little bit better, because I don't want that to positively reinforce your thoughts and going, this is a good comp. He decided, oh man. He decided to shove into you really, really aggressively with 9 Hellions and 6 Cyclones. The thing I don't like about this for Terran is that he has very similar counts of Hellion and Cyclone, and he knows you are going for mass Lingbane Hydra. He's seen your army multiple times. So why the fuck is he pushing with like almost equal numbers of Cyclones to the Hellions? Hellions are so much better here. And if he makes more Hellions, he has more gas to spend on other things. Or he could just make more factories. This is super fucking YOLO for the Terran. This is just the Terran going, fuck it, I don't know, let's go. This should not work. It only works because he doesn't have enough Hellions. Like when he roasts your Lings like that and he stops, and he just weakens a lot of your Lings, you should be losing a lot of your Lings.
Swarm forces under attack.
Yeah, biggest problem right now is your expansions, for real. So even though, yeah, like, you might actually even be ahead right now, which you are, you're ahead and resources lost. And a lot of people get kind of like tunnel visioned on this stat and going, I'm winning the game, I'm playing it more efficiently than him. But you're actually not winning the game right now, simply because even though he's lost more than you, he's generating more than you by a lot more. This dude is crushing your economy. And the really big problem right now is your 5th base is being restarted right now, but your bases are mining out. You're starting to mine out, which means your drones are going to start becoming overly, like they're just going to be excessive. Like you can see you're transferring a long distance mining group here now to your 5th base, which is just going to make you start falling further and further behind. This is very risky. This is very risky simply because I know you just killed his army right here, but and that's what's prompting you to want to start a take a fight. But I don't know, this is so scary for a Zerg. What you're doing though is you're pushing across the map into a mech player with a heavy ground focused army of Ling Hydra Bane, and if this dude was in position, your army just gets obliterated. Even though he lost some Hellion Cyclone over here, that wasn't a 200 supply army. That was 6 Cyclones and 9 Hellions. That shit's like worth like 40 supply or 50 supply. That's worth like about 50 supply, roughly. I don't know, somewhere in there, 40 to 50. That's not a maxed army. But you are, what you're doing right now is you're committing a potential maxed army, is just very close to it, to now diving into his base. Which is sketchy as fuck. And you're doing it also without scouting beforehand. You have no idea where his army is.
Yeah.
And you also have no idea how many bases he's on. I would have loved it if you would have, like, if your plan is, I'm going to attack him, send less Zergling along the side of the map. It's fast, it won't take very long, and you could see, okay, where is his army? And it would have made it, if you really want to attack, it would have made a more educated guess to go, oh shit, I ran over here, I saw some units and a tank fucking killed me. Like, my Ling ran up this way, I saw Hellion Cyclone, and I died to a siege tank. So he's definitely stacking, he's got like some army over here, so maybe we should avoid this. And maybe if you go over here and a Ling runs this way and you literally die to a planetary. No units. No units die to a unit of his, it's just a planetary. That would make more sense too, right? You're like, alright, I now am attacking, like you attack the right base with what you're doing. But you did it by flipping a coin and going, let's hope it works. So, if you're going to commit like this, this is a potentially game-losing situation you're putting yourself in. Doing it with proper scouting would make a big difference for increasing your odds of winning in situations like this. Because if you attack a base he's defending, your whole army just dies. Also, this Terran player keeps attacking you with like parts of his army. I don't understand that. And now you see the battle cruisers. How many control groups do you have? You have 3. You have your I'm assuming you have your Hydras in 1 and 2, and you have Corruptors on 3. To be honest, if I were you, this is what I would do. If the Terran just threw away a little bit of units like that, I would say you have the ability right now to attempt to continue the pressure. If this guy keeps throwing units away left and right, okay, your army just killed a base, and he also just killed a small task force. There's nothing your army can do on the ground here really that much to defend this. I would love it if you poke forward. You don't have to poke your whole army forward. You can poke like a Ling forward again if you want, or you, fuck it, dude. You could be like, you know what, I'm gonna engage my whole army, and if it looks bad, I'll just turn around. If it doesn't look bad, I'll commit. You could commit into his natural, commit to his main, get on his production, commit to his third. Look for more expansions that are super exposed. This army could be doing something really active right now, which I'm glad you're turning it back around again right now. A second ago it was going back to defend your here. But I'm glad you're turning it back around to his base again. This is just a little bit of lost time now since you committed to this one earlier and it happened to work for you. The second thing is it looks like your Corruptors are about to engage these BCs. And I really hope they don't, because you're making more Corruptors. 7 Corruptors, especially that since 2 of them are about to die and they also have 0 upgrades, are not going to beat 3 full health 1/1 BCs. Especially if they all have Yamato, which they do. He could Yamato 3 green ones, kill the 2 red ones super fast because they would die within half a second to focus fire. And then you have 2 Corruptors left that are just not going to do anything. They're just going to die. And then suddenly 8 new Corruptors pop out. And then his BCs could fight those for a second and maybe kill 1 and then he just teleports away. And he doesn't lose anything other than some repair time. And you lose 7 Corruptors, or 8 Corruptors because you just got impatient. We'll see what happens.
Forces under attack.
I hope you don't engage, though. Okay, good, you're not. And what's your ground army doing?
Forces under hive cluster under direct assault. Swarm forces under attack.
Okay, so your ground army is kind of just like on a move right now. And it's fine. I don't really mind it. I do think you should, I would say if I were you and I was watching you play this game, at this point, I would say the best thing you could do is try to cost efficiently get rid of your Hydras. Make them do some type of an attack that's going to net you some gains if you can, but try to get rid of them in a way that's going to seem somewhat efficient. And what you're doing right now is accomplishing that. You just killed off some more of his Hellions, and you're now maybe going to kill like a BC, maybe. There's a good chance you also might not, because you're going to see how shitty Hydras are against armies like this. Hydras can trade against Hellions, but they're so bad against higher power units. Up here, this will do some damage. You'll kill his depot line. You might even kill some SCVs with this Ling if he doesn't pay attention. Meanwhile, you are going to have enough corruptors to shit on these BCs because you didn't really engage yet, and you haven't really lost many. You've only lost 3 drones and a queen. It's been fine so far. You're gonna crush the BCs is my point. And I like that you're overmaking them because now you're also making the Greater Spire finally, which means you should be going into Brood Lords.
Swarm forces hive cluster under direct assault.
If you're gonna run the only mistake I think you made here is if your plan is to run the Corruptors back, which I agree with you, you should have done something like move your spores forward to cover your drones so that you could stage a fight somewhere with extra help. Or you should have just ran the drones away to like right here. And you could even like literally go like this. Green box the drones, right click here, hold shift, click the mineral line. And that's going to buy you like 8 seconds or 10 seconds of time where your drones are not going to be there to where you don't got to worry about them. And you've already reissued a command to make them fix themselves. So you don't have to think about that again later. If you're multi-pronging like, oh shit. Oh, over here. Okay. Inject. You know what I mean? Like but then now your drones don't suddenly all just die. And then he teleports away. Okay, I think he's looking at his base now. And he's not doing anything with the BCs.
Swarm forces under attack.
But yeah, overall, you defended that better than he did. Better, you did that situation better than he did. Still could have been better though. Also, the other thing too is stop making queens.
Mutation complete.
You have way too many queens. Queens are fucking awful. This unit, honestly, this unit should not be called queen, okay? Don't think of a queen as a queen. Think of a queen as a transition. Queens are so good early game. Like when you make a lot of them. They allow you, and the reason why they're so good is because they only cost minerals. They allow you to do greedier things than you should otherwise be able to do. And they also give you control of the map early because they allow you to have a really good creep spread. But they're just overall really good defense units that don't cost larva and they only cost minerals. So yeah, they're just amazing at building your build up, but they are transition units because if you continue to make queens late game when you're like 150 plus supply, they are awful in your primary army. It's so bad. It's terrible. It's super shit. One big reason why is they nerfed the hell out of transfuse. So the only reason why you would ever make queens like an excessive amounts late game is because of this ability. You're not going to be like, you know what I want? I want like 20 queens late game to inject. You can do that with like 3 or 4, and you're good to go. You're not going to be like, you know what I want? I want like 20 queens to creep spread. Again, you could do that with like 1 or 2. Because 1 queen could put out like 20 active tumors by like 10 minutes, and suddenly you have creep everywhere anyways. If a queen literally spawned tumors like that, and you always, again, had to be like, okay, I need a queen to once again pop a new tumor. and then it turns into that again. You couldn't spread tumors off tumors. If that's how creep worked, yeah, you would need a lot of queens to spread creep. But you really don't, because you can make tumors out of tumors out of tumors out of tumors, and it just spreads like crazy. So, again, you're not going to use queens for anything late game other than transfuse, and transfuse got nerfed out the ass. It heals for a lot less. It heals for 75 now instead of 125, and it has a 50 health hot, which is never going to be used in late game situations, because you're never going to be like, all right, I'm going to heal a Broodlord, and I'm going to let the last 50 heal it, and then I'm going to heal it again, and I'm going to let the last 50 heal it. You're going to heal it. What's really going to happen is you're going to heal a Broodlord, and if you look at it and go, let's see that hot take effect, you're just going to be like, oh, the Broodlord's dead. The Broodlord just died. I don't think the hot even healed it at all. It's dead. So the hot is fucking useless, because the amount of DPS in StarCraft is insanely high. So what you're actually going to do is you're going to spam transfuse, spam it, and you're still going to see shit die, because spamming 75 health transfuses is still going to be like, there's still going to be burst damage that's going to go through that. If it's like 10 Thors shooting a Broodlord, it doesn't even matter. You're still going to fucking lose your shit. Like, things are going to die. And queens are supply heavy. They're 2 supply per queen. So if you have like 10, 20 queens in your army, that's a large amount of supply that could have been something better. 2 queens is 1 Broodlord. I would rather have, instead of having 20 queens, I would rather have 10 Broodlords. Seriously, it's so much better. So much better. I would only ever use queens in my army if they were still alive from the early game, or if I, for some reason, didn't have time and gas that I needed. Like, if I was going to say, all right, I really need these Broodlords, but I also don't have enough time to stop his attack, and his attack does have anti-air. That is like the only exception to making Broodlords. To making queens. That is the only exception. And a lot of times, those do not happen. Or pretty much every time, that does not happen when you're at 200 supply. Those are situations that happen when you make some type of like, something happens that fucks up your build, or you make a mistake in some way, and you're at like 120 supply, or like 130, and your opponent's doing a timing that's like early, and you're not ready for it, and you're like, shit, I need queens because I need some type of anti-air. That's like the only time that happens. It should never be queen heavy late game. It's awful. Queens are not worth what their weight is in supply once it gets really high. And you obviously don't need the queens for anti-air because you have a ton of corruptors, which is what you should have. But you really need to get upgrades on your Spire. I would say if you play against someone who goes mass BCs or mass Liberators, Carapace is better. But if you play against someone who does not go mass BCs or does not go mass Liberators, always get weapons against mech. Let's look at base count really fast once again. You are on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a 6th one on the way. Terran is on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with a 7th one on the way. You're still being out expanded by Terran. This is really bad. You really need to speed up your expansion timings against Terran. This is 100% why you lose. Like, I know it might sound intimidating and stuff like that when you're like, dude, if I expand, I usually die. Well, that's another problem in itself, right? If I saw a game of you trying to expand fast and dying, I could give you some other analysis on that as to like mistakes you might be making in those ways. But that's actually how you should be playing against mech. Step 1 against mech is just being able to out economy it. Your composition is just so weak. Look at this. Look at this. Alright, check this out. His comp right now has no air in it, right? And I know you're probably thinking he's got mass BCs. I don't know what he has. You dealt with some BCs over here. Because his Terran's splitting his army up. Okay. But he's making BCs off of 1 starport at a time, or I guess 2. There's not a lot of BCs, is my point. This is definitely not mass BCs. He had 4 a second ago. This is not mass BCs. But look at your composition, okay? You have resources. You are maxed on supply, but you do have resources. So there is no reason why you could not change your composition. Okay? You have 11 Hydras. You have 46 Zerglings. And you have 12 Queens. If you cut down 12 Queens to like 4 Queens, that is now, or we'll say 5, okay? We'll give you 4 Injectors and 1 Creep Spreader. That's now 7 Queens you would delete out of your army, which is 14 supply. Okay? We'll just write it down so I don't forget these numbers. 14 supply. Now you have 11 Hydras, which again at this point in the game are awful. And 11 Hydras is 22 supply. And then you also have 46 Zerglings, which is the equivalent of 23 supply. And Zerglings, if you're going to be fighting maxed army versus maxed army and you're not going to counterattack him, okay? If your whole plan is like, fucking think of like anime, okay? And you got fucking Naruto and Sasuke, and you got both of them. They're powering up their ball, and they want to smash into each other. Okay, we're getting full weeb here. You don't got one guy half-assing it and doing something else at the same time, but they're both committing everything into it, right? It's death ball versus death ball. Okay, think about it. If you're not a weeb, it's okay. Think about just focusing all your efforts into one point. All right, you're focusing everything onto one big fat fight. Fucking weeb. You get my point? Everything is all about this one fight. You have what is this? This is 59 supply. You have 59 supply. That sucks in this army. That's a lot of supply. 59 supply. That is not good. Hydras are not great against mech. The only way Hydra's work against mech, by the way, is if you repeatedly smash Terran over the head and never let them have much economy. It's the only way that works. You're not playing like that at all. You're playing for macro stage games. You're playing for the death ball because you're letting him max out, which means that is a death ball. So if you're playing for the death ball stage of the matchup, having weak parts of your army mixed into it is awful. And if you had 59 supply instead into, let's say, you take 40 supply out of that 59, and you just make Broodlords, which is 20 Broodlords. Let's just say that, okay? You had 20 more Broodlords. You have now, instead of 3 Broodlords, you have 23 Broodlords. And then for the last 19 supply, you have 9 Corruptors and 1 Drone. Or whatever. You would have 23 Broodlords and 32 Corruptors. And that army, even though it's overmade on Corruptors, 23 Broodlords would A-move this and fucking demolish it. Not even close. Not even close. It would be a Zerg death. Now, if you look at your resources, obviously you can't afford that because your mining hasn't been up to par up to this point. So realistically, you could make something more like, you could get rid of your Hydras or your Queens, and you could actually add in, what is that? That's like 5 more Broodlords. Your Broodlord count could actually be, or if you made them out of your Corruptors, you could actually add in 10 Broodlords. So you could actually have 13 Broodlords and 13 Corruptors. You could totally have that. That is very realistic. And then you could lose your Hydras or lose your Queens, a lot of them, to be able to afford the supply. That is what you should do right now. You should just trade out some of your shitty supply. Infestors are really good too, but yeah, and he does have Neural Parasite. But you know, you can. I don't think you should be going Neural Parasite if you have 3 fucking Broodlords. You should be getting more Broodlords. Let's see what happens. 1 Broodlord's already dead. You killed a Thor for it, which is actually a good trade for Zerg if you lose a Broodlord to kill a Thor. It's not a great gas trade, but it is a good trade in terms of supply. Because Thor is heavier supply, so you can, you know, if you were crushing his army like that in a supply advantage, if you have a lot of money to work with, the money isn't necessarily as important now if you can just overwhelm him and contain him. But now let's look at this fight. So you got all your ground army supply going in right now and engaging, and you have 2 Broodlords still. When you would have been better off, honestly, if you were gonna. And what you do here also is you make Broodlords. Well, look at the army first. Okay, just watch it fight. Now Broodlords are being made up here at the top. Your ground army's fighting. You have another 10 Broodlords being made right now. This Terran player drives me crazy. Because I feel like this Terran player makes it look like what you're doing is right when it's wrong. I'm gonna back it up and just say really fast what the Terran player should have done. Because I have to. You lose this fight if Terran player focus fires Hydras and Queens with tanks and then lets his Thorazay move. That's when you lose the fight. But look at the tank shots. Just watch the tanks and what they shoot. Shoot that Thor. Shoot that Thor. They shot the front Thor right there. They shot that Thor on the side. They shot that Thor. He literally let his fucking tanks shoot your Zerglings the entire time and kill his own Thors. It's very bad. It's the only reason why he won that fight is because this Terran has 0 micro. This Terran has no idea what he's doing. And he also doesn't even attack with the entire army. He's got so much shit just staggered around. Like, that army was not like a super high supply looking army. It was like 5 Thors and like 4 tanks. He's doing it again. Your Broodlord count is respected. Okay, that's a lot of broods. Dude, you do what I want you to do, but you always do it so late. I'm glad you're doing it, though. Okay, so here, I'm gonna see what you're producing. You're making more corruptors. So here's the thing, right? Before the fight started, I was saying you could have more Broodlords and more corruptors, right? You could focus your army more around that. And you took a fight right here where you actually crushed him because he keeps throwing army at you. He keeps throwing a bunch of army at you. And now you have a lot of Broodlords. But you have no upgrades on your air. And so what that means is your air is not gonna it's still gonna be good, but it's not gonna trade as well as it could in general. And the one thing you gotta really respect about Broodlords is this unit has it's a very committed unit. There's no just going, you know what, I made a mistake with Broodlords, I need to turn around now. That doesn't happen. If you overextend with Broodlords, you die. Like Broodlords all die. So, here's the problem with what's happening right now. You once again have just like inefficient supply in your army, which is the Hydras, as we talked about so many times. And then you start going into a situation where you overextend with your brutes. And let's look how effective the Hydras are. Okay, let's just watch how effective these Hydras are. Yeah, some not helping. But let's be fair, if these were helping, you don't suddenly just win this fight. You're getting destroyed in the air battle right now. Against his air units. And now, you are now making Corruptor, but the fact that you haven't upgraded any air stuff means that your Corruptors could have either killed his BCs faster, or they could have tanked a lot better. Carapace is amazing against BCs, but this guy was not going mass BCs. This is just like a buildup of what he's made off of small amounts of starports. So I don't think you should have gone... I actually think you should have gone weapon upgrades this game. Even though right now, currently, you're fighting against BCs. But this would not have been a problem if those Hydras were just gone. And you had Corruptors. These Corruptors that are coming now were already out now because the Hydras were just gone. You just got rid of them. You got them the fuck out of your composition. If those were all Corruptors, on top of, like, again, I might be saying this in a confusing way. Right here. You have 6 Corruptor and you have 11 Hydra. If this is 17 Corruptor, okay? If this is 17 Corruptors, you fucking own this army. Own it. Like, hardcore. Not even close. You shit on this with 17 Corruptors. By the time it would take him to Yamato for your Corruptors, he would lose 1 BC automatically, and a second one would already be half dead. And then all of his BCs would be dead, and you would still have probably like 12 Corruptors left over. Or like 11. And then you can make more Corruptors with your money behind that to come reinforce. But now what's going to happen is your brutes are just going to die across the map. And this is now a lot of money that you're throwing away. And the problem about money and being thrown away is, once again, if you don't have a better economy than the Terran, it's a problem. And you are not mining 5 bases, you're mining... Or sorry, you are mining 5 bases, but the Terran is mining 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's mining 6. You are not mining 6. This is your 6th base. It's not mining anything. The Terran has been out mining you the entire time. Up until the point when the Terran matched you on 3 bases, when you were actually mining more than he was, ever since then, this Terran's been mining more than you. And losing something like this is hard to replace if you are not mining as much as your opponent. And now if we look at resources lost, you're the one who's losing more, and you're mining less. So you are effectively now losing the game. And your supply is honestly only as good as it is because you have like a shitload of queens. And again, remember what I said about queens? They didn't even help at all. They weren't even in the fight. They weren't even there. Even if they were there, it wouldn't even really change much. It would have changed a little bit, but they're slow as fuck, especially if there's no creep. I don't mind the Lings right now, by the way. Lings are okay right now, and the whole point of Lings right now should be to counterattack the Terran and keep him busy. Like, I would love to see you, again, send a Ling around the map, check for side bases, see if anything's super exposed, because you do have upgrades on these Lings. These Lings kind of fuck right now with their weapon upgrades. So, getting around and being like, hey, maybe like run 20 Lings into his main, run 20 Lings in the natural, run 10 Lings into the third. Or be like, hey, look, it's a planetary and there's nothing at it. Let's go kill that. That would be great. Running blindly with your army around, though, is not good. You should always try to, like, scout. If you're ever going to counterattack, you should always scout first. And, like, have an idea of where you're going to counterattack instead of just running blind shit around. Unless it's, like, unless your whole style is just constant counterattacks, then that's different. because the counterattacks themselves are the scouts. But like if these lings die, I would not be like, make another one, and then make another one, and then make another one, and then make another one. Okay, oh, I didn't mean to do that. You are randomly guessing where to go. I guess it's not really super random because he has a sensor tower here, so it's kind of obvious there's probably a base here. But you are guessing where his army is though. And I'm not gonna lie, you're guessing correctly again a second time. You're getting lucky in this game, Sapien, with where you're choosing to send your little attacks like this. This base should die to that many lings. But if his army was there, you would have any, like those, like, you know, the lings commit, you lose them. If his army is, or if his army's there and you run the lings in like that and you go, you know what, I don't want to commit it anymore, and you back up, you lose the opportunity to deny something like this over here now. Because his army is in the wrong spot, you know what I mean? Like if his army is way over here and this base is more undefended, you could, or this natural's undefended, the third's undefended. There's always something that's going to be undefended when the map gets super spread. So finding what is undefended is ideally what you want to be going for. And now you're just dead at this point only because you just don't have enough money. You can't remax. Even if you spent your whole bank right now, you could not remax. And I wouldn't be surprised if you just do some panic shit right now and you go, oh fuck, let's just make Hydras again. Which is also not good. Because going for like Corruptor, Infestor, Broodlord, that is a composition that takes time to prepare. You don't just snap your fingers and have it like you could with like Hydras. But yeah, like you're definitely dead because what just happened is he's killed your bases on the sides. You have no mining base here anymore. You have no mining base here anymore. You're about to lose this mining base. These other bases are mined out, pretty much. So you are effectively starving out. You're starving to death now. You have no way to contest what he can do to you. I'm not even going to talk about the effective Terrans because I know you only did that because you're just like, I'm fucking dead. I can't neural, even though neural is like 100 times better. And I'm sure you know that, so I won't get on your ass about that one. What he said with here is not incorrect. That I agree with that. But what he said here is wrong. The reason why you lost this game is because your build was inefficient for many reasons why we talked about, and you also committed a lot of your resources to Carapace Lingbane Hydra. You guys are nice though. This is some wholesome shit. You guys are talking to each other about, you know, sharing ideas of what you both think is good. I like it. This is the kind of shit you need to improve. Good mentality. If there's one thing I can definitely say you have is that's great, Sapien, is your mentality. I can just shit on your play all day. I don't try to, obviously. I know people, when I look at chat, everyone's like, geez, ViBE's really ripping into this guy. I'm just, you know, I'm just passionate when I talk about it. But Sapien knows. It's all for the cause of improving. But yeah, the lack of the big thing about the early game is your early stages definitely fucked you over. And if you want to go Lingbane Hydra against mech, you can. But your whole goal at that point in the game should be, all right, I'm never going to let the Terran take a fourth base ever. He will never have a fourth base. And if that happens, you should go, I'm fucking losing the game right now. That needs to not happen. And how can I avoid that from happening? Maybe you get more technical with it and you're like, okay, let's start nidusing his main at the same time as I smash his fourth base. Stuff like that. How can I improve my efficiency with my harassment? If you're gonna go Ling Hydra Bane, and you're gonna go, all right, Terran, take as many bases as you want, you're gonna fucking lose. Because Ling Hydra Bane trades like shit when Terran has a lot of money and can max out. Ling Hydra Bane only trades well if you keep the Terran on low army count. What are your thoughts about BCs teleporting around to fringe bases? This is advanced. But, so, here's all you gotta do, okay? This is all you gotta do. Your Broodlords and your Infestors are right here in a green box. Okay? They're all right here. And burrow your Infestors, by the way. Just burrow them for this point in the game. Because you're going to be fighting against, like, Thors and BCs, right? That's what his army is. It's Thors and BCs. Burrow your Infestors under your Broods. Keep your Infestors next to your Broods. Send your Corruptors at the BCs. All of them. BCs teleport away. If he teleports back to his base, cool. You don't have to gotta worry about shit. If he teleports onto your Broodlords because he's like, cool, the Corruptors are out of position. Neural them. And they can't do anything. And then your Corruptors can fly back to your Broodlords while you're knurling his army. And you're fine. You're good to go. There are more advanced ways you can deal with it. But that would 100% kill the shit out of your opponent that I just saw. If you just did that. There's no way he stops you. If he teleports back to his base, and then he goes, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to fight your army now with my army that has no BCs in it. And I'm going to fight against everything you have with just like Thors. And you just now go, oh, well now instead of knurling your BCs, I'll just knurl your Thors. You win, right? But this also requires you not to be going Hydraling Bane forever, okay? So let's keep that in mind. Because that wasted a lot of your money. But let's say, again, you know, he teleports onto your Broodlords, you just knurl them, and then you can even knurl the Thors as they come in. And you just win. A more advanced way, the way that I deal with BCs, if this guy was, like, let's say this guy's 6k MMR, okay? Or like 5.5. He's really good. He's like someone who could be a pro, or, you know, he's just really good ladder player. The way that I deal with BCs that go, okay, let's fucking fly around the map with like 5 BCs. I'm sure you've seen me do this as well, is I will make a Nidus Worm, and I will go, okay, where's my army going? Where do I want to push? Let's say my army is right here, for instance. I would put a Nidus Worm right there. I would also put a Nidus Worm, like right here. I would also put a Nidus Worm, like right here. I would also put a Nidus Worm, like right here. I would literally put Niduses at checkpoints on the map where it's like I have a Nidus in the main, that's where I built it. I have a Nidus that's over here that can cover both of these bases. I have a Nidus over here that can cover this side of the map if he comes on this side. I have a Nidus over here that can cover this side of the map. I have a Nidus again right here that can cover in case he gets further up. I have a Nidus in the middle where my army is. And what I can do is I can go Infestors. There's 10 fucking, or like let's say there's 6. There's 6 battlecruisers going like this. And now they turn up. And I go, oh look, I had an Overlord right there. Or an Overlord over here. I have some type of a fucking Overlord scout that goes, lots of BCs are coming over there. Oh shit, let's get them. And I just go like this. Nidus is under my main army and I go into it, go out of it. Neural Parasite the BCs as they're coming up the side because I can do it while they're burrowed. I can have them like right here. I can have them over there, there, there. It doesn't matter where. I can be burrowed and have him go right over my head and neural him. And as he goes over my head, I just go, all right, teleport right onto my Broodlords or right onto my Corruptors. Teleport onto my army, and then I just go, Infestors, up burrow. Go back into the Nidus Worm that's close to you. Pop out of the Nidus Worm that's under my Broodlords again. And now his BCs and my Infestors are both on one side, and they both teleport to my main army. Together. And as he gets to my main army, if it's a lot of BCs, like let's say it's like 10 or 12 BCs, now I just engage him with my Corruptors, and I re-knurl him again. Because you can cast Knurl twice on an Infestor. Before, like, you know, with one Infestor, and it's only 100 energy. And you have 200 energy on an Infestor. Max. So you can do it twice. So I would just re-knurl him as he teleports to my base, because there's like a 3-second dead time where the BC goes, let's start fighting. It's more like 2 seconds, but yeah. And then there you go. And now suddenly I just moved his entire army to my army, and he can't teleport twice. That shit's on cooldown now, so he's stuck. He has to take that fight now. And if it's a lot of BCs, like I said, I'll just use Corruptor and Knurl. If it's just a couple BCs, I'll just let the Corruptors just insta-kill that shit. And then I just got rid of the BCs. And they're done. That's advanced, though. Just keep that in mind. I'm not telling you who is a Masters player right now. Who's like, you're like mid-Masters, low-Masters. You're not supposed to be using fucking double teleport Nidus Infestor BC. That's advanced. That's hard. You have to. That's something you're gonna have to practice. But that is an option. That's how I deal with Terran players who do that at high level. But you could literally just have your corruptors chase them. Have your corruptors just A-move that shit with an overlord spotting. And then they teleport. It doesn't matter where they teleport. If they teleport home, you now have time to attack his base, where he can't do anything because he can't just re-teleport again. And if he teleports onto your army, you knurl him. Because your infestors are there. And your broodlords are like, hey, BCs! There's infestors here, just so you know, and now you're knurled. You know what I mean? And there you go, man. Anyways, guys, that was a really long analysis. That was over an hour. Thank you guys for watching this replay analysis. This was a lot of mech action. I will see you guys in the next one. I hope you have a great time. Hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, man. Bye. Have a good one. Bye. Thanks for watching. See ya. Later, guys.